be Trump's most controversial statement yet. A single remark on legal marijuana that could unlock $200 billion in untapped wealth between now and the November election. And that could deliver investors nothing less than 2,900% gains, no matter your political preference. Now, you may expect the Donald to oppose legal marijuana, or maybe even reverse the new laws in states like Colorado. But that's not the case. Instead, in a recent interview, Trump promised to back the legalization of marijuana in all 50 states. And I was stunned. I expected this to be all over the news, just like everything else the Donald says. But incredibly enough, there was almost zero media coverage. That's remarkable. Here we have a front-runner candidate promising the historic end of marijuana prohibition, what I consider the biggest green light to the marijuana industry ever, and not a peep from the Trump-obsessed media. But that's what makes it such great news for investors watching this situation unfold. It's created a perfect under-the-radar wealth opportunity, one that will allow us to get a first-mover edge on this explosive $200 billion industry. And while Trump may or may not become president, it doesn't matter. Clinton, Sanders, Cruz, Rubio, all have expressed similar statements. That's why Newsweek calls 2016 the marijuana election. Yet the media is so focused on other issues, from ISIS to the economy, they've missed the consensus among presidential candidates for marijuana's legalization. And outside of a handful of billionaires, few are privy to the tremendous profits up for grabs. The last time we saw such a sure-thing opportunity was 83 years ago, when the prohibition of alcohol ended. And alcohol stocks surged for gains like 2,900% across the board, starting months before the 1932 election. All because investors saw the inevitable change coming and scooped up shares of alcohol companies in a frenzy. Now, everything you'll see today will leave you with no doubt history is about to repeat itself. And if you act now on 3 specific marijuana opportunities I'll share with you in a moment, you can see your biggest profit windfall of 2016 or even your life. But you must take action before this historic buying frenzy. That's why Trump is far from the only billionaire backing marijuana. As it turns out, the smart money is buying marijuana by the forklift. For instance, Bloomberg uncovered Warren Buffett's secret ties to Colorado's marijuana warehouses, facilities stashed with 700 million metric tons of marijuana. These are at the epicenter of the dramatic shift in marijuana policy, and the world's greatest investor has positioned himself early. And now dozens of big-name investors are following closely on his coattails, like billionaire PayPal founder Peter Thiel, who just staked over $75 million on marijuana holdings. The LA Times reports that Thiel, too, is positioning himself for the inevitable end of marijuana prohibition. And George Soros, who recently staked down a fortune on the ground floor. MarketWatch reports the billionaire is working with big food conglomerates to develop mass-scale growing operations. And then there's Tesla's Elon Musk. All told, Musk pocketed $133 million from this industry before it even launched. In fact, this ground floor opportunity is so lucrative that former Microsoft executive Jamin Shively, who worked directly with Bill Gates, left the software giant to begin a marijuana startup. According to Shively, aka the Bill Gates of cannabis, the industry is on track to create more millionaires than Microsoft. Troy Dayton, CEO of the hedge fund ArcView Group, agrees, saying, "These are exciting times. New millionaires and potential billionaires are about to be made." And it's already happening. Consider Colorado. Since legalizing pot 3 years ago, the state has produced 4,873 new millionaires. That's a rate of almost 5 new millionaires a day. CNN calls them the new marijuana millionaires. People who are waking up overnight to find they are sitting on a mountain of riches. Take Jeffrey Moss, a 40-year-old northern Washington farmer. Last year, he couldn't afford a car and had to rely on his parents for money and his friends for meals. Now, legalization has made him a millionaire on his marijuana holdings, virtually overnight. In fact, since the state law passed last year, he's grossed $5 million. Then there's Carrie Vincetti, 33, who left her job as a paralegal to join the Green Rush. Not to sell marijuana, but as a consultant to start-up cannabis entrepreneurs. With so many people looking to make a killing on the Green Rush, her own business is booming. So far, she's raked in a $2 million fortune. And there's Alan Gustav, who lost all of his savings investing in a music venture. He and his wife were sleeping on cardboard furniture and had a baby on the way when they moved out to Anaheim, California, and opened a marijuana business. They went from being almost homeless to raking in over $1 million last year. The examples go on and on. Now you can join these brand new millionaires without starting a business, owning a farm, or ever touching an ounce of marijuana. In fact, in order to make a fortune from the cannabis boom, you don't have to live in a state where marijuana is legal, you don't have to sign any petitions or do any political advocacy, and you don't have to have anything more than $25 to invest. You just need to buy in now before the end of marijuana prohibition, and not in some shady penny stocks. Instead, I've identified 3 super safe companies that are banking on the green rush. They don't all grow or own weed, but they provide services that benefit those who do. These are ancillary companies raking in the lion's share of marijuana profits by providing software, real estate, and technology to growers. Just like the people who struck it rich in the gold rush by selling picks and shovels, not mining, these companies will spin off a new wave of millionaire investors. To be sure, I've been to their operations and seen their sites. I've met their managers and workers. I've pulled up the curtain on the quarterly earnings reports and seen their real profit potential. In short, I've gotten the inside scoop that you won't hear from analysts sitting behind a desk. Using history as a guide, they could deliver nothing less than 2,850% profits moving forward. And that's just over the next 12 months. It's happened before, when the government ended prohibition, when Atlantic City legalized gambling in the 70s, and other similar historic moments, what I call crossover events. This is when formerly illegal industries become legal, and already established companies with loyal customers generate fortunes, as do their investors. Now, the same exact circumstances are setting us up for astronomical gains once again. I'll show you why these profits are inevitable, when to expect them, and what to buy. But before I do, allow me to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Jimmy Mingle. I've been on the front lines of America's billion-dollar green rush for the better part of a decade. And even though the market is still only legal in some places, I've shown my readers big gains on some of the hottest emerging marijuana plays, like a biotech developing marijuana treatments that we bought and sold for 93% gains in just 7 months, or a Canadian marijuana delivery company that handed us 73% gains in 7 months. Another company I recommended 4 months ago has doubled since then. And I've given 6-figure presentations in front of Silicon Valley bigwigs seeking my outlook on this explosive market. I've even hobnobbed with the likes of famous TV host Montel Williams, who benefited from medical marijuana to treat his multiple sclerosis, and is now benefiting financially from his medical marijuana dispensary too. Recently, I toured the facilities of Canada's dominant medical marijuana firm, now poised to make a small fortune for investors. All because I'm confident of one simple thing. Legal marijuana is the kind of once-in-a-lifetime mega trend that delivers big wins. The kind you can retire early on, with more money than you know what to do with. You see, we hardly ever see the birth of a new billion-dollar industry, or the opportunity to get in before these profits are unlocked, much less one where money is already there under the surface. That's what makes the emergence of America's newest and most lucrative industry, legal marijuana, the most extraordinary profit opportunity I've ever seen. And because marijuana legalization is unfolding state by state, we have the rare opportunity to buy in before prohibition completely ends. If you know the stories of alcohol millionaires like Joe Kennedy, then you know just how lucrative this can be, and why Silicon Valley is now scrambling to join the green rush. In fact, at my recent Money Show presentations, I spoke to early VC investors in companies like Uber, Reddit, and Tesla Motors. All are pouring capital into emerging marijuana startups and see even bigger opportunity than anything Silicon Valley has delivered since the iPhone. The Financial Times now calls marijuana Silicon Valley's hot new sector. And as the LA Times puts it, they're leveraging the legalization of marijuana into a windfall. So are Fortune 500 corporations. This includes companies previously opposed to marijuana legalization, like Big Tobacco, Big Agriculture, and Big Pharma. All of them are now getting a piece of the action. All of them are putting down billions outside the purview of the government or the media. Cannabis is even moving to Wall Street, where it could soon be traded just like any other commodity. The CEO of venture capital firm Privateer Holdings predicts that 6 to 12 months from now, there will be investment banks who will have analysts following cannabis like they follow healthcare or agricultural commodities. These smart money moves all point to one unavoidable conclusion. The time to legally pocket massive profits from marijuana is now, and for good reason. Over the last 24 months, the legal market has surged from zero to a $2.7 billion industry. A newly released market report even called legal marijuana America's fastest growing industry. Smartphones came in a distant second. Last year, sales skyrocketed 74%. The year before, 64%. No market has taken off at this rate since the tech boom began in the early 1990s. But moving forward, this will look like a drop in the bucket. Think about it. Medical marijuana is legal in 23 states, recreational use in a mere 4 states. 4 others have decriminalized it, and these are just the first dominoes to fall. New laws are rapidly advancing in half of all 50 states, red and blue alike. The customers already exist. The market is already there. The profits are just now being tapped, which is why this millionaire growth story is only just beginning, and why the 2016 elections will unlock the marijuana industry's untapped profit potential. I'm talking about the imminent end of marijuana prohibition thanks to a series of little-known bills on the state and federal levels. Now, that may sound like a bold prediction, but the writing is on the wall. Anyone who's paying attention can see it. Presidential candidates are behind legalization on both sides of the aisle, and at least 17 states are lined up to fully legalize marijuana. And more are joining the wave, no matter who wins the White House. The political consensus is growing. Pew Research polls show 53% of the American public supports legalization. 63% of Republicans under 30 support legal marijuana. And Republican support for legalization has more than doubled in the last 5 years alone. That's why Republican presidential candidates are now jumping on board. In fact, Newsweek recently called 2016 the marijuana election. Like it or not, we could see green states from sea to shining sea by the end of the year. And as Forbes predicts, this move will make investors extremely wealthy. I agree. But what's the real upside potential here? Now, while legal sales of marijuana have climbed to $2.7 billion, we're just seeing the results of 4 states legalizing recreational use. So as it spreads across the union, it's not hard to imagine this story will look a whole lot different. After all, we're looking at tens of millions of new and already existing customers. This is a giant mountain of money waiting to be unlocked. When all is said and done, estimates put the legal market at an astronomical $200 billion. That's an incredible sales surge of 7,300%. That kind of astronomical growth turns everyday folks into millionaires. And I'm not talking about 10, 5, or even 3 years from now, but over the next 24 months. That's why financial journalist Todd Harrison calls marijuana the best investment idea of the next decade. The Daily Bell takes it a bit further, calling it the profit opportunity of the 21st century. And as one hedge fund owner told Wall Street investors, there is a massive potential. It is untapped, it is just sitting there below the surface, and it is ready to come above ground. Now, some may still be opposed to legalizing marijuana. They may think it's unethical or immoral. And I respect anyone's views. But when you consider the tide of public opinion, the growing number of states lining up for legalization, and the massive profits about to be unleashed as a result, I think you can agree that legal marijuana is inevitable, as are the profits at stake. So the way I see it, you have 2 choices. You can sit on the sidelines and miss out on the profit opportunity of the 21st century, or you can ride the tidal wave of inevitable profits for retirement wealth, however you feel about marijuana. In a moment, I'll share with you the 3 best ways to cash in on this $200 billion wealth trend. The future Anheuser-Busch's, Bacardi's, and Miller Coors of marijuana. But first, let me show you exactly just how much money is up for grabs, when you can expect to see it, and why I'm so confident these profits are inevitable. To give you an idea,
First, we'll have to go back to the end of Prohibition in the 1930s, when alcohol stocks skyrocketed for unbelievable tenfold gains in under a year, even as the rest of the stock market tanked. This is what I consider a crossover event, illegal markets becoming legal. Time and time again, these market anomalies have handed investors a fortune. Let me explain. It's November 1932. The writing's on the wall. FDR wins the election by a landslide. One of his central promises? The repeal of Prohibition. FDR's victory was easy to anticipate at least months before. So were the legalization bills that passed in several states. And much like the situation we're seeing now, alcohol's legalization was all but inevitable. That's why, even though it would be another year before Prohibition was actually repealed, it didn't matter. Alcohol stocks, known as repeal stocks, soared to the heavens. But since selling liquor was still illegal, only 3 kinds of American companies were available: medicinal, industrial, and ancillary purposes like antifreeze. Take the major bottle manufacturer Crown Cork and Seal. Today a blue-chip giant, this company was relatively new at the time. In June 1932, it traded for just $5. But then it soared to $10, $30, and $50. By July 1933, 5 months before Prohibition was even repealed, it soared to $64, a massive gain of 1,180% in just 12 months. Then there's American Commercial Alcohol, a leading producer of alcohol for cars. It soared from $8 in 1932 to $20, and then to $50. By July, it had reached $90. That's a 1,025% gain in just 15 months. And then there's National Distillers, the largest provider of medicinal alcohol, which surged from $12 to $125. And let's not forget Canada, where alcohol was still legal, and where major suppliers surged as the American market opened up once again. Take Hiram Walker, the maker of Canadian Club, which soared from $2 in 1932 to $59 just 12 months later, a gain of 2,850%. But the biggest repeal stock home run was the bottle manufacturer Libby Owens Ford. In fact, the Chicago Institute of Securities would list it as one of the top stocks of the next 2 decades. All told, the stock surged for an incredible 11,326% gains, enough to turn just $10,000 into over $1 million nest egg. Now, these gains are great and all, but how did investors really do? Consider the famous example of Joe Kennedy. Now, you might have heard the legendary story of how the Kennedy patriarch accumulated his riches, laying the foundations of the famous family fortune. To this day, many claim Kennedy built his empire by illegally bootlegging alcohol. But in reality, that was only a small part of it. Instead, Kennedy made his real fortune in just 3 simple steps. He anticipated Prohibition's end early. He bought shares of bottle manufacturers and other ancillary companies, and then rode the tidal wave of life-changing profits as alcohol shares surged in 1933. In 1933 alone, he took home over $4.25 million in inflation-adjusted profits, all by investing in alcohol-related stocks like National Distillers and Libby Owens Ford. Now you can do the same. And while you might not make millions like Kennedy, if you know the companies to buy and take action early, just like Kennedy did, this could be the biggest profit windfall of your life, hands down. And this is just one past example. Whenever an industry becomes legal, investors get rich. History has proven this time and time again. Consider the next big crossover event, the partial legalization of gambling in the 1970s. It's the mid-1970s. Atlantic City passes a historic bill legalizing gambling. The law leads to Native Americans winning a series of historic court battles, paving the way for legalized gambling in Indian reservations everywhere. The result? Gaming stocks take off, even as the market is tanking. Take Bally Manufacturing, the country's largest casino slot maker. It trades at $5, But then it shoots up to $10, $30, as high as $68 by September, a gain of 1,260% in just 9 months. Then, there's the Las Vegas casino operator Golden Nugget. It surges from $5 at the beginning of the year to $45 by August, a gain of 800% in 8 months. And these are just a handful of examples. Dozens of hotel, airline, and real estate stocks soared for 1,000% gains or more in just months. Many were ancillary companies poised to profit from the legalization of gambling in Atlantic City. But the biggest home run by far was Resorts International, the lead casino for Atlantic City. That's a whopping 31,432% gain in just 2 short years. Good enough to turn every $100 into $31,432, $1,000 into $313,432, or $10,000 into $3,313,432 in a matter of 24 months. This is simply the biggest, quickest gain I've ever seen in the markets. Nothing else compares, not by a long shot. If you had seen the writing on the wall when Atlantic City first proposed legal casinos, if you knew this company's potential to hand investors earth-shattering gains, and if you had taken quick and decisive action, it's no exaggeration to say you could have retired on this single play with just a very tiny stake. This is the historic wealth-building power of crossover events when formerly banned industries become legal. Just like the end of prohibition and the partial legalization of gambling, the end of marijuana prohibition will make investors very rich very quickly. And if you know where to look and take action while it's early, you could see the biggest profit windfall of your life, no matter how much you invest. After all, the big winners won't be the growers, or anyone who even touches the marijuana itself. The winners will be the ancillary companies essential to production. I'm talking about real estate, grow equipment, and security systems, just to name a few. These are companies with the potential to deliver nothing less than tenfold returns in under a year. Once again, investors will see the writing on the wall. They'll see a major election in 2016 that guarantees a shift in policy. They'll see dozens of states pass legalization bills. And they'll snap up shares of marijuana companies in a frenzy, driving share prices through the roof. But you'll need to move right now, because these stocks will start surging long before prohibition is officially over. Can you guess the effect of the end of prohibition on alcohol stocks? Nothing. Not even a tiny bump. That's because investors had already bought up company shares in anticipation of what they knew was inevitable. That's why the smart money is moving into the sector now. Billionaires like Thiel, Buffett, Soros, and Musk. And if you know where to look, and move quickly, you can get their same first-mover advantage. And this is the key. In fact, getting in early enough could mean the difference between a few nice percentage points on your portfolio and a massive retirement windfall. It's your choice. But if you want the second option, you'll want to act right now. And you'll want to act on the 3 specific plays I'm sharing with you today. The future Anheuser-Busch's, Bacardi's, and Miller Coors of marijuana. That's why I've laid the groundwork for you, so you can get started immediately. You'll get all the details on how to profit from America's fastest growing industry, including 3 red-hot plays, in my brand new dossier, Green Rush Profits, 3 ways to play the end of marijuana prohibition in 2016. Inside, you'll get their names, ticker symbols, company profiles, and full analysis. Everything you need to make this emerging opportunity the most lucrative of your life starting today. Everything I recently shared with an overcrowded room of hungry venture capitalist investors at the Money Show in San Francisco. All of my boots-on-the-ground analysis, including hobnobbing with elite marijuana entrepreneurs like TV show host Montel Williams, and much, much more. Let me tell you a little about each of these companies right now. My first pick is a Vancouver-based company I call the new king of pot stocks, because it's positioned as the future monopoly of Canada's marijuana industry. The Canadian market for medical marijuana is growing fast. Industry experts project the market will grow from 40,000 individuals to 1 million in just a few years. And this firm is the number one way to cash in on Canada's explosive market, hands down. First off, the company is Canada's first licensed marijuana distributor and manufacturer, so it has considerable first-mover advantage. That alone should grab our attention. But when you add a recent acquisition of its biggest competitor, a combination that analysts hail as a cannabis superpower, we can now indisputably say it's the dominant player of the country's market, one that will lead this industry from infancy to maturity, and deliver investors the biggest returns. But it has just started growing its market share, and here's why. The company doubled its revenue each month in 2014. In 2015, its revenues have grown sixfold. In just 2 short years, its revenues are projected to explode 2,900%, even as expenses decline. It's no surprise, then, that it recently booked positive profits and free cash flow. I'm telling you, in an infant industry like this, where many of the companies are emerging players, it's incredibly rare to find a company sitting on extra cash. In fact, right now it's the only player in the Canadian market to generate free cash flow. This all means one thing. It can snap up its much weaker competitors and expand its market share. In other words, we're early on the cusp of an explosive profit growth story. Just to give you an idea of its potential, this stock has more than doubled investors' money in just 1 month. Take a look. That's enough to turn a small investment of $10,000 into $25,000 in only 30 days. And a coming catalyst could send it a whole lot higher. Recently, the Canadian government legalized cannabis oil and edibles, a law that takes effect near the end of the year, opening up a whole billion-dollar space for this marijuana giant. To be sure, it has dozens of products in the pipeline that should hit the market before 2015 is over. Not to mention it's quickly expanding into the North American market. And as the only profitable Canadian marijuana firm, one generating free cash flow, it has the treasure chest to do so, without adding any debt. Right now, its shares trade around $3. But considering we're looking at the dominant leader of a projected $1.3 billion market, it's unbelievable how the markets are undervaluing it. Moving forward, 2,900% gains are not out of the question. That brings me to my second recommendation. It's a Denver-based social media platform that some now dub the Facebook of marijuana. It's connecting thousands of legal weed users around America. The company's subscriber base has soared from 25,000 last year to $500,000 now. That's an astronomical surge of 2,000%. And as marijuana prohibition ends, this number will only grow. So will the number of companies paying for advertising. Right now, 1,000 marijuana companies are hosted on the social platform. Locked out by Google, Facebook, and Twitter, these business owners are just happy to have a space for internet marketing. And with competition heating up in the market, they'll pay whatever it takes to reach customers. Let me be clear. Online marketing for cannabis is a huge untapped space. And when prohibition ends, this company is lined up to be the leader, not other social media firms that snub the industry. The astronomical growth in subscribers has hedge funds taking notice. So far, it's attracted $25 million in venture capital this year alone. The markets are starting to see its potential too. Between August and September, the stock surged 129%. Not bad for 1 month. But wait until you hear what's coming next. If everything goes right, and there's no reason it shouldn't, this will be the first cannabis tech company to be listed on a major exchange. A significant milestone event that could attract dozens of big-name institutions and send investors piling into the stock. This is just weeks away, so I urge you to move quickly. While it only trades at $2, it has all the potential of Facebook or Twitter if you had invested pre-IPO. Now, here are the details of my last play. It's a Swedish-based LED light technology firm. The energy costs for marijuana growers are astronomical, to say the least. One study estimates that weed growers consume 1% of the total U.S. energy output. That's the equivalent of 2 million American homes, the entire country of Israel, and as many as 150 countries. The total tab has been estimated at $5 billion a year. Industrial growers, like Denver-based Medicine Men, pay as much as $40,000 per month for electricity. So LED lights are a no-brainer. They can cut energy costs by as much as 66% in some cases. They're also eco-friendly and produce more diverse, potent, and higher yields of cannabis. And this Swedish firm is on the cutting edge of new LED technology customized for the marijuana industry. Over the last year, in fact, sales of its patented LED technology have doubled. And that's just for starters. The overall LED grow light module market is expected to move from $395 million in 2013 to $3.6 billion by 2020, according to Wintergreen Research. These estimates will certainly move higher after the 2016 election, when dozens of new states passed bills of their own. And considering its disruptive technology, growing client base, and surging sales growth, this company is shaping up to be a major player in this emerging billion-dollar space. Right now, it trades around $1.30, but $10 is not out of the question moving forward. So you've seen all the profits up for grabs, the upcoming catalysts that can put money in your pocket soon, and similar circumstances where investors got rich. So that you too can turn this into the profit opportunity of a lifetime, I've assembled the full details on this pick and the two other red-hot plays in my brand new dossier, Green Rush Profits, 3 Ways to Play the End of Marijuana Prohibition in 2016. Inside, you'll find a profile on each of these companies and their ticker symbols. That way you can buy into them right now before they start returning huge gains. With your permission, I'd like to send you my research on this new breakthrough absolutely free. All I ask is that you take a quick test drive of my research advisory service, The Crow's Nest. As I mentioned before, my name is Jimmy Mingle. You may have seen me hobnobbing with the financial elite on CNBC's Closing Bell, or you may have heard of me as the architect behind the wildly popular finance and investing website WealthWire, where I brought readers the story behind the mainstream financial news every single day. I've spent my entire professional career researching and writing about little-known opportunities in the financial arena. I head the Outsider Club and our financial planning advisory, The Crow's Nest. As a trained journalist, I've gained a reputation among my peers for digging like a sleuth to uncover under-the-radar money-making loopholes and financial backdoors that most people never hear of. In other words, I don't follow the crowd. The real money is always in the investments you've never heard of. That's how the rich play the game. Whether it's the $200 billion untapped potential of the marijuana market, the emergence of cutting-edge medical developments that could change our lives and mint new fortunes, or retirement loopholes that can turn these profit windfalls into substantial work-free salaries. I take pride in not just spotting life-changing trends long before the media catches wind, but also helping everyday investors maximize their profits from these explosive opportunities. That's what the Crow's Nest is all about. All the research, the meetings with executives, the boots-on-the-ground investigation, touring the shops, factories, and fields, it's all a lot of work that keeps me going nonstop. But it's all worth it, knowing that you, the everyday investor, can make the money you need to fund your retirement. And nothing, I repeat nothing, compares to the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity the marijuana market now presents us. All new millionaires are minted every day, with many more to come. Not just entrepreneurs either, but everyday Americans who buy the right companies at the right time. Whether it's the end of prohibition or legalized gambling, again and again, major legal changes like this drive stocks up for 10, 20, and 100-fold gains in a matter of months. And investors get rich. As soon as you start your free trial subscription to The Crow's Nest, you'll get access to my new dossier, Green Rush Profits, 3 Ways to Play the End of Marijuana Prohibition in 2016. So you'll get a shot to join them as history repeats itself. To sweeten the deal, I'll also send you a brand new research report on a very unique company I call the Gold Barons. Even as gold has plummeted in recent years, and even as some miners have plunged by 80%, slaughtering investors, this gold company has not batted an eye. In fact, it could have doubled your money during the same time. Here's the kicker. Whenever gold soars, sending miner shares through the roof, this company has historically surged 3 times higher. That's incredible. It has all the upside of gold, with none of the downside. And it continues doubling investors' money no matter what happens to the price of gold. It's the perfect company to own whether you're bullish or bearish on gold. You'll get the name, ticker symbol, and company profile, all the details on what makes this company so different and why it could double your money moving forward, no matter what the gold market is doing. It's all inside my dossier, The Gold Barons, Make Money in Any Gold Market. Like I said, I will send you all of this research free of charge when you start a subscription to The Crow's Nest, which is delivered to your email inbox every single month. I realize you might have subscribed to a financial or investment newsletter before, but I guarantee you've never read anything like The Crow's Nest. Introducing you to the best investment ideas in the stock market is just a small part of what I do. In my years running WealthWire, I've seen it all, and now I've boiled all of that knowledge down to an easy-to-follow program that will help you secure your finances, grow what you have, and allow you to retire comfortably instead of working until you drop, even if you've never bought a stock in your life. The Crow's Nest will teach you how to completely take control of your finances, from buying stocks and plotting your retirement, to taking advantage of tax breaks and simply plugging the money leaks that threaten to sink your savings. Here are a few things you'll discover when you read The Crow's Nest. How you can save up to $277,969 by avoiding certain kinds of investments. How to open a savings account that actually beats inflation. A secret that'll help you save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. A sneaky fee that could be draining thousands of dollars out of your retirement account. Why your credit card could be costing you hundreds of dollars even if you don't use it. The best way to protect your portfolio during volatile times, and much more. So, how much does The Crow's Nest cost, and how can you get started today? Well, before I tell you how to start a subscription, there's something else I want you to know. There's another research report that I want to make sure you have in your hands immediately. Did you know there's a secret retirement account that lets you pocket, on average, an extra 4% gain every single year? I know an extra 4% gain may not sound like much, but all these gains add up to a fortune over time. Take a look at this chart. It shows the growth of $1,000 invested in both the S&P 500 index and the secret retirement account, going all the way back to 1929. While a $1,000 investment would have turned into $80,760 with the S&P 500 index, the same $100,000 investment would have turned into $2,297,085 with this retirement plan. That's more than 28 times higher. This account had an average annual return of 9.8%, while the S&P 500 had an average annual return of 5.4%, a difference of 4.4% every single year, all thanks to what I call $50 retirement plans. This is a very unique way to retire rich, a rarely advertised investment opportunity, so good that it puts 401ks and IRAs to shame. Most people don't know this retirement plan exists, but a few regular folks, like Bernard Schlossman, a 73-year-old retiree from Northridge, have already started to take advantage of this secret. As he says, this is something you cannot not do. That's because this little-known program can mean a lifetime of safe, effortless wealth generation for ordinary Americans, beginning with as little as $50. And this is the perfect program for investors who are looking for income because it allows you to collect 5 to 10 times bigger dividends than holding a stock the normal way. With this kind of income, you could amass an unbelievable stake in just years, starting with very little money. I'm sure by now you're asking yourself, if this secret plan is so good, then how come I haven't heard about it before? The short answer is that the government has placed restrictions on advertising this program to the general public. When this plan was created, it completely bypassed traditional brokers and money managers. So Wall Street lobbied Congress to forbid it from ever being advertised to the public. As the Wall Street Journal wrote, it's the best kept secret on Wall Street. Securities and Exchange Commission rules won't let them say much about this fabulous way of saving and building wealth. Or as MarketWatch put it, brokers and fund managers can't sock you with big fees and commissions if you use this program. So they won't tell you the best kept secret, and they've made sure Congress and the SEC keep it a secret too. Do you see now why few people know this program even exists? The good news is that today, many online brokers will gladly help you get started. Your current broker may even offer this program, even though he probably doesn't advertise it. You just have to know what to say. I've created a special report to tell you everything you need to know about this rarely advertised retirement program. In the report, I'll show you how to get started, why this plan is so much better than regular retirement plans, how much you can collect, and 3 companies that are perfect for setting up $50 retirement plans. As soon as you become a subscriber of the Crow's Nest, you will get access to this report that shows you exactly how the secret plan works. You can get started with it in a matter of minutes. A subscription to my letter, by the way, costs $99 a year. Remember, elite investors charge their clients thousands of dollars for their advice. With the Crow's Nest, you will get access to their best picks without having to pay the hefty fees they charge. That's why many folks believe the Crow's Nest offers the best deal you're ever likely to come across for this kind of research.
Jimmy, I look forward to reading about your adventures, land or sea, and stock thoughts. I can't thank you enough, and I hope to have the Crow's Nest for the next 30-plus years. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Finally, I have someone, you, who has the conviction of their recommendations and insight. Thank you, Jimmy. God bless you.
We are deeply grateful and pleased to be part of such an amazing team of experts and enthusiasts for life and prosperity. Thank you all for your excellent work. We wish you the very best.
I just signed up for the Crow's Nest and found it to be a tremendous value for the money.
I love the Crow's Nest newsletter.
But here's the thing. You can actually get started with a full year subscription today for much less than our normal rate. Today, you can receive a full year of the Crow's Nest, plus everything else I mentioned here, for only $69. Why so cheap? Well, I know that most of my readers, like me, are extremely skeptical. Lots of people can make big promises and talk a good game, but in my experience, very few can actually deliver on what they promise. And I know that if you're like me, I need to earn your trust and your business. That's why I want to make it as easy, cheap, and hassle-free as possible for you to try my work today. That's why instead of paying our regular rate of $99 per year, today you can pay just $69. That's 19 cents a day to receive everything I mentioned here. This includes 12 issues of the Crow's Nest. Delivered every month, each research letter I send you will be packed with the best elite investor ideas I uncover. I'll also show you how to boost your income, incredible ways to dramatically cut your cost of living, the safest way to grow your retirement account, and much more. Special report, Green Rush Profits, 3 ways to play the end of marijuana prohibition in 2016. Bonus report number 1, the Gold Barons, make money in any gold market. Bonus report number 2, the forbidden secret to retire a millionaire. Oh, and one more thing. When you try my research, I'm not asking you to commit to anything whatsoever. All I expect when you sign up is that you'll give my work a try. Here's the deal I'd like to propose. Sign up today to start receiving my research, and take the next 90 days to make up your mind. If, for any reason, my work doesn't seem right for you, simply let me know within the next 90 days, and I'll make sure you get a full refund for your entire $69 payment. No restocking fee, nothing to send back. Even if you cancel your subscription and receive a full refund, I'd like you to keep all the research you've received. My compliments. Remember, even if you subscribe to a financial letter before, I guarantee you've never seen anything like the Crow's Nest. I will introduce you to the best investment ideas from the most powerful investors on Wall Street and help you achieve financial freedom by taking complete control of your finances. If this sounds like a fair deal to you, simply click on the Subscribe Now button below, which will take you to a secure order form where you can review everything you'll receive before placing your order. I look forward to hearing from you. Godspeed.